All right, so we are going. I'm not holding this up. I'm not holding this train up any longer.
I didn't even sit down yet.
Because this is going to be late.
Well, I just got here.
This is going to be late. You hit some weather. You hit some traffic.
It was raining like crazy.
You had some, it was raining like a, I was just about to say what my mom used to say. Maybe I shouldn't say that.
Yeah, you should censor yourself.
Yeah, maybe I better censor myself
It's a G-rated channel.
Yeah. Welcome back to Talking Story. My name is John Minton. That is...
You don't normally ask for my name at the front. I was taken off
I like
guard.
to throw you a curveball every once in a while.
Jacqueline Hagan.
No, you missed that.
I wish I didn't.
We're going to talk about that in a little bit. You were well, Pooh was here, so...
That's not enough.
I had my favorite son here.
I don't like hearing that.
Hey, welcome back to another weekly reader. Grab a frosty beverage. I got some water here. Yeah, gotta stay hydrated.
Don't make noises when you drink.
Yeah, I'm an old man. No, old men do that, right?
Yeah, I don't like it.
I used to sit with my grandfather, and he would always have milk for every meal.
Everyone
And he would
just
make
clicked.
this after every sip. He'd make this noise. I can't even do it. It was the weirdest thing. After every, I don't know. It's an old man thing.
Sounds like he couldn't keep it down.
It is an old man thing. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you guys had a great week filled with 5-star reads. A low stress week. Things were pretty good around here. We had a great week around here on the channel. Grab a frosty beverage. Let's talk books for a little bit. Let's catch up. So sorry this is coming to you a little bit later. But our co-pilot, our producer, our man of the hour over there had some important things to do, and he just got in here late. So what are you gonna do?
Thanks for just tossing the blame on me.
Well, I'm absolutely gonna throw you under the bus. That's exactly what's gonna happen.
You already did.
Yeah, that's what I'm good for.
Well, what did you read this week?
Let's get to it. Okay, you ready for this?
I'm ready.
I finished Best Served Cold.
You finished it. That was quick.
I finished it. That's how good it was.
Did you do over 100 pages a day, or did you stick to your
I think
regular?
I might have done a little bit over 100 because it was that good.
Really?
It was that fun. This is... Number one, I've read the first trilogy, First Law, right? First Law trilogy, the first trilogy.
Yeah.
And he's riffing off of all of these classic fantasy stories. Think about Tolkien, think about T.H. White, think about Marlowe. I mean, Arthurian stories, fantasy stories going all the way back, right? And he's putting his spin on it. When we get here, his world is so amazingly built from that first trilogy. He's just been able, at this point, to reference himself, to springboard off of his own work that he set up in his first trilogy into this. And it's deceptively simple in the beginning. In the beginning, I think about, no one does characters like Joe. No one does characters like Joe. No one does dialogue like Joe. No one has voice like Joe in this genre. It's so much fun to read. It sucks you in. You hear every voice. You see every character. They're all three-dimensional. They're all delicious shades of gray. And they all are so flawed, so much baggage and trying to get past of who they are, get who they are out of their way so they can move forward in life in this world. And you're thinking, well, Best Served Cold by Joe Abercrombie. This is absolutely a deceptively simple revenge story.
Huh.
Very little going on other than that. Someone wronged. No spoilers here. Someone wronged in the beginning, and she starts her journey, her vendetta to get revenge. Then, as you go forward, what you start to see, this turn of events, this stabbing in the back that she has in the very beginning of this book, causes ripples. And as these ripples move out across this part of his world, Styria, the story just broadens and broadens and broadens in scope as her vendetta starts to cause real change in this country, real change in this world as she moves about it. And not only real change politically and socioeconomically in this world. Also, inner changes to the characters. These characters, these horribly flawed characters, as they move forward. What is the price they're going to pay for revenge? What is the price she's going to pay on this journey? Will she start to have doubts? Will she start to feel like she should pull back? The people that she's recruited around her, what will it do to them? Will it pull them? Especially characters such as Shivers, that just wants to be a good man, a better man than he started at the beginning of this book. Does it start to dilute that journey for him and start to turn him into something else? Revenge is such a dark, horrible entree that she's serving to everyone around them. How much food poisoning is it going to give all of them? And you start to see these familiar faces pop up from the first trilogy, and you start to see how things that are happening in exterior are going to affect things that are set up with the Union from the first trilogy, and what's going on there, and how deep these lines are drawn between Gurkle and the Union, and how these two sides are set apart, and these powerful beings above the humans that are starting to move pieces and furthering this divide between them that I think is going to pay off in the final trilogy. So all of these ripples, all of these things from this one simple little plunk of this backstabbing event in the first starts to go through this entire land, and it just grows and grows and grows until it reaches this unbelievably bloody crescendo that you cannot turn away from. It absolutely wonderful. At this point, I can't imagine anything getting close for Book of the Month. I can't think of something getting this close.
We're 1 week in.
We're 1 week in, but that's how good this was. Like, it was this is how good it was to be back in this world, back under Joe Abercrombie's spell. I immediately, before I even finished it, I had about this much left to go, I started shopping for the next standalone book, The Heroes.
Wow. So I assume then it's not going to be as big of a break as you had between first and last.
I'm involved in a lot of buddy reads. I can't promise how quick I'll get back to it, but he's building something special here. This is not a first trilogy and then standalones with a couple cameos and Easter eggs. This is an uber novel that spreads over all of this, that is so tied together in the history of this world that I got to tell you, I'm becoming a huge fan. The growth of him as an author, from riffing off of classical people work from the first one to say, hey, you know what, I want to stretch my wings and do classical fantasy or do fantasy, and riffing off of that to now becoming, I've got my own sandbox so well defined, I can just play with my own toys. I was just really enjoyed this read.
I'm sure everyone will be really happy to hear that.
I hope so. It was what won our Patreon read.
That's how you know it was going to be good.
That's how you know it was going to be phenomenal, because let me tell you something about our patrons on Patreon. These amazing humans right here that not only vote and fill in the bracket, and we would normally throw up the bracket with some amazing sound effects.
But the bracket has not started yet.
But the bracket has not started yet. Voting starts next week. We just got all the books suggested to us from our patrons to build the bracket. So next week, watch for some sound effects, because they'll be coming, right?
Just the one.
No, exactly. The one sound effect that sound effect, that'll be coming.
Just one singular sound effect.
One singular sensation, every little sound I make.
No.
I'm going to keep doing Broadway lyrics until someone makes me stop. Sensation is the last word
I would use.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm doing Broadway lyrics until someone makes me stop.
Yeah, Andrew's doing jazz hands somewhere.
Yeah, I'm telling you. We'll get into that in a minute. But so they do everything. They keep the lights on. They keep us going. They make the big time decisions for the channel. They do everything all the way up to taking over this channel and getting their content right on this channel. If that interests you at all, check out in the description box our Patreon link, and you can find out all about it.
Absolutely.
And I have to thank each and every one of them that, I'm telling you, they don't miss. The patrons don't miss. Every Patreon read has been phenomenal. This is absolutely no different.
Not surprising. They know you pretty well.
So right after that, immediately picked up Jeff Vandermeer's Annihilation.
Is the video on that is coming this week?
It is coming this week. So I'm going to be pretty vague on this because coming up this week, it's going to be what I like to call Book Club with the Misses.
I'm not putting that in the title.
That's the new title. Make it look good.
No, I'm not doing that.
But my amazing, lovely wife and my favorite writer in the whole world, Amy Minton, has read this book as well. We're going to be sitting down here together next week to go over all of our thoughts. And she already told me that she's got some things to bring, some things to say.
Oh, she does have an MFA.
Yeah, so she's going to use it. She's going to throw opinions all over the place.
That doesn't shock me.
But let me tell you, I'm going to finish this tonight. I got about 25, 30 pages left of this.
Oh, you're right at the end.
And I am loving this.
Really?
I am absolutely loving this. I don't know if I've ever read. I don't think I've ever read Jeff Vandermeer before. And again, we're going to have a whole episode here coming this week about this. So I'm just going to be very quick. But his power of language, the way he uses language to not only draw a picture, but make you feel physically while you're wading through these words that he chooses that you are in an overgrown, rotting, fecund, sprouting, growing forest that is taking over humanity's hold of this part of the planet. He makes you wade through those words, and it's so effective. It's so atmospheric. His prose is so impressive because of the feeling and the atmosphere he gives you while you're wading through these words.
Now, there is a sequel to this book, right?
There's 2 sequels. This is book 1 of the Southern Reach trilogy, and I already ordered book 2.
Before you finished it as well.
That's how I feel about this one. He's hard at work. I think book 4 is coming out very soon, like in the next couple months or so.
Yeah, your July reads are going great.
This month has been, and again, I hope everyone out there watching, I hope you are having as much luck as I am, because this is 2 bangers for me. This is kind of more of an atmospheric, Lovecraftian horror, but it's Lovecraftian horror in a very certain way, a very certain cautionary tale, using that type of atmosphere and that type of creep factor, which we're going to get into coming up this week.
Absolutely.
And I can't wait to talk about this with Amy. I can't wait.
I'm sure she'll have a lot of really interesting...
I'm sure I'll just sit here silent while she carries on. So what's coming up next?
I don't know.
I'll tell you. This is what comes. And after this, I'm going to start my indie read of the month. I'm going to pick up, because I'm having so much fun with a little bit of a different flavor from fantasy, I'm going to stick with some horror and go with Pete Kramer's Chesapeake Bay Monsters. And that should not take me long to get through whatsoever. He was so kind to send me this, and I can't wait to see what this is all about. And I know it's kind of a creepy horror story, horror tale, maybe a little bit of I read the back, little themes of greed and friendship put under stress and that kind, so it sounds great, and I can't wait to get into it. So I will start this tomorrow, because I'll be wrapping this up tonight. Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer will be wrapped up tonight. Chesapeake Bay Monsters by Pete Kramer, my indie read this month, will be started tomorrow, and I will finish that long before we come back for our next weekly reader, because again, that's not crazy long.
It should take you a couple of days, I think.
So what's after that? It is time for something that's going to last a little bit longer, a little bit more of a chunker. We are going into Of Darkness and Light by Ryan Cahill. This is for the buddy read that we're doing with Dr. Philip Chase, Christopher Navo. Mike from Mike's Book Reviews is hopefully going to join us because he's has read this entire series and loves it so much. He likes to just sit in a square as we discuss it and smile and try and not spoil anything for us. So we try and get him to give us little breadcrumbs, but he's done great at not spoiling anything. So he's kind of the impetus of all of us for wanting to get into this series. So it's really fun to have him there. Angela from The Unicorns Read, I know has been tied up with some things she's dealing with in her life. Hopefully she can join us as well. If she cannot, our best to her. But I will still be working on this, I'm sure, when I come for our next weekly reader a week from today. Because that's I don't know how many pages this is, but it's, I think, around 700. But from what I hear, this is like that roller coaster that's all downhill. Like it's going to fly.
That sounds like your language.
Yeah, yeah. I had so much fun with the first book and the first novella, so I really can't wait to return back to all my buddies, all the characters. I really want to see what they're up to and get back to this world. It just scratches that Dragon Rider fantasy itch for me. Just this is just so much fun. So that's it for the reads around here. What did we do this past week on the channel?
This is a big week.
It was, man. Do we have anything that isn't a big week lately?
It doesn't feel like it.
It doesn't feel like it. We've stacked up. You know what? We need to maybe take a week and phone it in.
I don't see that happening.
I think we need to maybe just relax. I mean, maybe just do a whole episode of me asleep on the desk.
Well, see, every time we say it's a big week, it's because of other people. So maybe we do phone it in.
You know what? Maybe we do. I think that's a theme around here.
Yeah.
We absolutely kind of phone it in. We're absolutely guilty of that. What did we get up to this past week? We wrapped up the month of June.
We did.
We put our June wrap up. I agonized over picking a book of the month again.
Yeah, it looked tough.
I mean, look.
And yet you had to do it.
I had to do it. These Patreons, the patrons on Patreon pick such amazing books for me. I've met so many amazing people on BookTube that are picking. I don't pick my own reads anymore. That's why I have very, very few misses. Because I'm not left to my own devices. And let's face it, my decision making is
horrible.
It's good. I was going to say questionable at best. That's a little strong.
Might as well go all the way.
I don't feel like the extreme is needed. I think questionable works.
Look what we're doing right now. Your decision making led us here.
No, yours did.
I don't know about that.
You said, let me build you a channel.
I don't know if I said that.
I didn't know what that was. I thought you were going to go out and get me like a treat, like a fried pie or something. So I said, sure.
If I ever say I'm going to do something for you, it's never that.
But I really like those.
I know. That's why I won't do it.
What is? I hope you're trying to keep me healthy.
Just to deprive you of the
just to deprive me of what I love.
Yeah, keeps you on your toes.
It does. I've done a great job raising you. I can see that. Other than the wrap up for June, what did we do? Can you remember?
I remember what we did last night, or what you did last night.
Because you weren't here.
Because I wasn't here.
I was left to my own devices. That's why I had to start. Before that, we did our book haul.
That was a crazy book haul.
You should remember that because I think it kind of threw your back out a little bit.
I can't believe it didn't throw yours out.
Yeah, I know. I wore a truss. That was a lot of books.
I can't remember the exact number, but I remember counting it. It was
a lot.
I think it was 32 books.
That seems low.
It might have been 34 or 30. It was an even number. It was 32,
but
34,
it was a
36.
lot. It was a lot. It was absolutely a lot. So we did that. And then last night, we had now it was supposed to be Friday night, but we lost power.
Yeah.
So we had to put it off for a night. But it worked out. It worked out for the best because last night was the actual release day for Sundering Hours, and we had our release party for Jacqueline Hagan, one of my favorite indie authors out there. She joined us to have a launch party for her book in the Riverfall Chronicles, book 4, Sundering Hours, and we were joined by Dr. Philip Chase, who was a judge in this past year's SPIFBO, who actually judged Jacqueline's book during SPIFBO because she was a finalist in SPIFBO last year's SPIFBO.
Well, you know, I've heard you can call him Philip.
He told me that last night.
I know he did.
I think a couple times. Andrew was here to keep everything magical. Andrew from Andrew's Wizardly Reads.
As the wizard does.
Yeah. Kay was here from Kay's Hidden Shelf because she's just the best, the absolute best, has the best voice in BookTube. And then, all huge fans of Jacqueline's work, all of us. And Tori Tekken from Tori's channel got to join us. She was not going to be here because she was just on the tail end of her vacation. But because we pushed it over one night, she got to be here.
That's awesome.
And that was so amazing because she's I think she is the person that told me, oh, you got to get into indie. You got to start with this series. It's so good. and that's why Jacqueline was my first indie read, and I'm such a fan of Riverfall, and she was absolutely right.
She's also one of the first booktubers that actually talked to us.
Yeah, she's special. Her and Andrew, they're
Tori and Andrew are both.
Tori-
I mean,
yeah.
everyone's great,
they're all amazing people, but
including Jacqueline.
They oh my gosh, Jacqueline is she's way up there looking down at us. She's so special.
Yeah.
But it was such a great night. We gave away a lot of prizes. We had a great time. We had a big party for her launch. And Andrew actually won the big prize.
And it was a big prize.
It was a big prize. Andrew is going to be a character in the next Riverfall Chronicles book. So
his name is being used, right?
His name is being used. I don't know.
It's not that it's actually going to be Andrew's Wizardly Reads shows up and then.
No, not that. But I'm sure she'll make it fun and
yeah,
But he will be in the next Riverfall book. And we gave other prizes away to people in the chat. And Michael, one of our amazing supporters here on the channel, commented today that he was catching up on that, couldn't watch it live, and he was driving back from camping from his campgrounds for the 4th, and everyone on the road was wondering why this man in the car driving home kept doing jazz hands. Because that's how people would ring in when they would want to get a point to win these prizes, was do jazz hands. And so that was really cool.
That's awesome.
Thank you, Michael. That made my day. That was huge. That was so much fun.
Yeah.
That was so much fun. So coming up this week, we got some other great stuff to do.
Another fun week.
Tuesday, we're going to go over the entire first half of this year. This is July. June is just come and gone. So what are my best reads so far? What are my disappointments so far? I think I might follow I think I was tagged, and I think I might follow that mid-year book freak out to kind of sum up everything, where I'm at for the first half of the year, how I'm feeling about my reads, what's on top, what's on bottom, all that kind of stuff. So I'm sure I'll be agonizing over those choices. And that's coming Tuesday. So wrapping up the first 6 months of the year. And then I think Tuesday night, I'm going to be over on Bibliotheory's channel.
Oh, that's right.
And it is going to be, let's get ready to rumble. It is going to be a book throwdown between Game of Thrones and I've got it right here, The Blade itself, the first book in the First Law trilogy and the first book in Song of Ice and Fire. I believe Bibliotheory and Dr. Chase are taking the side of Game of Thrones, and it's me and Brian Bell taking the side of The Blade itself.
Now, did you choose this side, or
no? This was all put together by Bibliotheory for his channel. I was just asked to come in and on the Battle Royale.
You feel like you can give a good reason for why?
I got to tell you, that's a throwdown of two giants.
Yeah.
That's a throwdown of two giants. I'm on the side of Blade itself, and we're going to see how great of a debater I am. Because in all honesty, I think Game of Thrones would,
Yeah.
I got to give it to Game of Thrones.
And do you think you'll be able to come up with an argument for Blade itself?
I don't know how. I'm going to do my best. We'll find out what happens. But it's going to be a fun time. Check us out over there. We'll make sure we get community posts out and times and everything like that. I don't think it's live. I think he records it. I'm not sure. We'll get the info out to everybody. But I'll be there Tuesday night. And then Thursday, we're doing Book Club with the Misses.
God, man, I can tell that name's already going to catch on.
That title's catching on. Everyone's going to say, what a great title. We're going to see that in comments a million times.
I know they will.
Yeah, that's it. That title's catching on. Book Club with the Misses.
But it is monthly, right? That you and Mom are...
I kind of think we're doing this once a month. She has a great time coming up. She has a great time with these amazing people on BookTube. But she loves the comments, and she loves to talk books, and she's a writer herself. And we've always loved to hang out and talk books and stuff. It's just kind of really cool. She has a good time.
Yeah.
So I think it will be kind of doing it once a month.
All right then.
So I find that very exciting.
And you'll be talking about Annihilation. I don't know if that was...
And we'll be talking about Annihilation.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jeff Vandermeer's Annihilation. That's why I kind of didn't get very deep into it on my weekly reader catch up today. So I mean, wow, that's all. But isn't that enough?
It feels like enough.
That feels like an awful lot, right?
And yet, After that, we'll be back here doing another weekly reader and
And then
starting again.
we'll be right back here doing another weekly reader.
Yeah,
Yeah. I love BookTube.
it's a fun place.
It keeps me off the streets.
I hope so.
Because I was out there a lot.
I,
I mean, and I'm talking after dark. Unsupervised. Unchaperoned.
well, only because you just wandered out the door.
That's exactly it.
I don't think you knew where you were going.
I would have a little bit of loose change sometimes I wouldn't even have shoes on. I would just walk up and down the streets asking people for favors.
This is not a good image.
Asking people for a Diet Dr. Pepper, whether I knew them or not. Just making requests.
People on the street are not going to give you a frosty beverage.
They do not. 9 times out of 10, they don't. You come up and say, nice to meet you. I'd like a frosty DDP. They don't know what that means. They think that's some kind of weed killer.
Yeah. Nine times out of 10, they don't give it to you, and that 10th time, there are strings attached.
Yeah, usually really ugly strings attached. Very ugly strings attached. Say, last thing to check in. What have I been watching? What have I been up to? I am caught up on Dance with Dragons. Or House of Dragons.
House of the Dragon.
I can't get that right. I'm caught up with House of Dragons, and it wasn't... Look, this last episode, episode 3, I gotta say, there's a scene... There is a scene in it that is just world class.
Really?
There is a scene between Rhaenyra and Alicent when they come together and see if they can. No spoilers, but you see if they can head off the war. And it is 2 actors at their absolute peak. Their inner work is flawless. Whether they're speaking or not, you can absolutely see all of their subtext, all of their thoughts, all of the impacts of the other person's arguments, crushing them or lifting them. It's such subtle, amazing work. These are 2 actors that scene is everything that we love about the Game of Thrones world. That one scene. And it was so beautifully lit. And that for me, that scene, I was like, that's Game of Thrones, baby. That's back to being Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
So, and then I'm on episode 4 of The Boys. I just finished episode 3, a little bit behind.
I think you're ahead of me now.
Have you seen, episode 3, again, no spoilers, but I'm just going to say Vought on Ice.
Yes, I have seen that.
Oh my Lord.
That went poorly.
That went poorly.
My confusion with, and again, no spoilers, my confusion with that scene was that something happens that starts the bad turn of Vought on Ice, and then it just gets worse for seemingly no reason other than panic.
Oh, it gets worse. It is absolutely the theme of we are our own worst enemy. Like, I don't know, as humans, we probably don't need any help for carnage. Like, we'll get there. Just leave us to our own devices.
Yep.
Wow. That show, man. I know it's not for everybody, and I would not recommend it to everybody. I would absolutely not recommend it to everybody. But I dig it. I got to tell you, it is Grand Guignol with this candy coating of comedy satire. It just hits all the right notes for me, and it's being a comic fan from all the way back. I just find it hilarious. I just have such a great time with it. It is so over the top.
Oh, very.
It is. So, I mean, some of the comedy is how far they go. And it's every scene now that we have an alum from Supernatural. Like,
feels like it.
It feels like Kripke is just like he's pulling that speed dial out for hey, who can I get?
He's got plenty to pull from.
It's been so fun as a Supernatural fan to see all those faces again. And hey, July 1st, I just realized this on Netflix. I'm going to get to this as soon as I absolutely can. Netflix has season 2 of Star Trek Prodigy, and animated, yes, but season 1 was great. I really enjoyed Star Trek Prodigy, and I can't wait to get back into season 2. And I think on July 1st, Netflix dropped all 20 episodes. And it's got a great heart to it, the way Star Trek does. It's a great adventure. It's great characters. and it does such a great job of tying into that universe. There's so many Easter eggs, and it ties in so well, and it actually brings story threads together better than some of the live action main shows are doing. So I really enjoyed season 1. I'm so excited Netflix got season 2 because we didn't have it on Paramount Plus. So, if it's Star Trek, I'm going to be all in. So that will be probably coming up next for me when I catch up with the rest of these. So that's it. That's pretty much it for us here. What have you been up to? What did you read this past week? I hope it was every bit as good as what I read. Hit me up in comments and let me know. I love comments. The whole reason we started this channel, and it's turned out to be better than that fried pie, is to talk to people that love books, love the kind of books I love. So when you leave me a comment, I'm going to try and answer it as quickly as I possibly can, so we can talk back and forth about these books. And while you're down there, leaving a comment, that little thumbs up, hey, hit that thumbs up button for us. It helps us do everything. It helps the channel grow. It helps us find new people to hang out with. And if this is your first time, you've been around a time or two, and you have not subscribed yet, that little button right down there, it is so easy. It takes no time at all. If you love books, love these kind of books, boop, it takes that long, and it's over. And it feels good.
If you say so.
I subscribed to some new people this week. I walked around with a tingle for the whole week.
I'm going to need some peer review evidence.
I'll let me tell you, I'm going to get a tingle meter set onto myself, and every time I hit that button, I'm going to give you a tingle meter reading, and some of them it's going to go right off the chart. And I'm telling you, it'll feel good. It takes no time. And you can hang out with us over and over again, and who would not want to do that?
Please don't say tingle meter.
Yeah.
No.
You know what I'm thinking?
I know exactly what you're thinking.
Merch.
No.
The tingle. Oh. Boop. Oh, the tingle meter. It's going. It's going. I'm telling you, merch, we're going to put out a tingle meter.
People that aren't watching and are just listening that's on the drive are horrified right now.
Let me tell you, no one's still watching.
That's true.
There's nobody still watching this. That is it for us. My name is John Minton. Sorry we're coming at you a little bit late this week. That is...
Joe Abercrombie.
Ooh, not a chance. First of all, he has an amazing accent. You always pick people with amazing accents.
I think I just am envious.
Of which you have none.
I have none.
Yeah. That is Jakob Minton, the absolute best producer in the business. And I'm so happy he's here and did all this work for me to have this channel, because it has been the best ride I've taken in a long, long time. Hey, if you're still here, which I find hard to believe, that means you're book people. And in my book, that makes you the best people. Thank you so much. My name is John Minton, and this has been Talking Story.